I actually planned on reading the manga to this movie instead of watching the movie. But then I was like, if it got a movie, I might as well watch it. I can always come back to the manga in the future. Before I even get into this though, I've been kind of into anime movies recently right now. So if anybody wants to recommend a good anime movie I could watch, I'll be on it. This movie was also made by the same dude who made Goodbye Eri and the same dude who made Chainsaw Man. So you already know this shit. Fire. Anyways, let's get on to this movie. I've been stalling. So the movie opens up with this girl and she's in her room making up a manga. At school, she shares this said manga with her classmates and she's getting positive feedback all around. So you know she's getting a little ignorant with it, as you should. If you feel like you're good at something, you can wear that as much as you want. Anyways, this girl's name is Fujino and she's pretty much our main character. I will say all these compliments do start getting to her head. She gets a little big-headed around here, but then out of nowhere someone else at her school starts spreading manga around just like she was, and that person's work turned out to be way better than Fujino's. And you know, since these is little kids, as soon as they see something better, they're just trash talking Fujino's work, talking about some, oh no, this right here is where it's at, like they wasn't complimenting her work just a second ago. But you know how kids be. That's a good frame right here. This movie has a lot of good frames. My bad, I got a little off track, but obviously after everybody suddenly switched up on her, she's gonna be a little mad. But instead of, you know, throwing in the towel, being a sore loser and crying about it, she goes home and she starts practicing her art pretty hard. She ends up locking in for a year or two, completely focused on nothing but her art. But while she cares about nothing but her art, everybody around her is thinking she's a weirdo because she's so obsessed with this thing that they feel like is not important to them, even though it's pretty much her whole life right now. But even with all the negative feedback from everybody else calling her whatever they want, she continues focusing on her art. But then even after years of progress, she happened to find another manga by the same person who knocked her down earlier. And guess what? This other person's art was still way better than hers. But this time, instead of it motivating her, she just decides to give up. That passion she once had was taken away just to simple jealousy. I'm sounding poetic in this bitch. But suddenly, as soon as she quit doing what she was passionate about, everybody around her started fucking with her again. They was calling her weird and all that when she was focused on her art, but as soon as she drops the art, everybody wants to come around and be friends again. Now some more time passes, and by complete coincidence, her teacher asks her to deliver something to the same person that made her give up on art. It turns out the person that's been outdoing her is some type of shut-in who never comes out the house. And just now, Fujino's being sent out to deliver some papers to her. But when Fujino got to the person's house, nobody answered the door. So instead of just, you know, leaving the package outside, she decides to invite herself into the home. And as soon as she stepped in, she just found piles of used sketchbooks everywhere. And I guess this inspired her a little bit because she decided to just do a quick little sketch inside of the stranger's home. Even though she quitted art, I guess seeing someone else put in this much work into it made her want to just do a little something for the side part. But after she does the sketch, she kind of just dips out because she just didn't realize she's kind of intruding in somebody's space. But as soon as she leaves, we see somebody from inside the house chase her down. This somebody is the exact same person who's been beating her all this time. Her name is Kyo. It's actually Kiyomoto, but I'm calling her Kyo. You see, it actually turned out that Kyo, the same person that Fujino's been chasing after, is actually a fan of Fujino's work. As Fujino was trying to become a better artist than Kyo, Kyo was trying to make good stories like Fujino. So when Kyo saw that little drawing that Fujino did inside of her house, she automatically knew it was her. So she had to chase her down because Fujino's kind of like an idol to her. Now Kyo actually ends up asking Fujino why she quit putting out manga. But you see, Fujino's a pretty impressionable person. If you paid attention to her backstory a little bit more, I know I didn't really go over it, but the whole reason she even draws is because people used to compliment her drawings as a kid, so she just went into doing it. But then she just quit because everybody else was talking bad about it. But now that she has someone that she knows enjoys her art, Fujino's gonna get a big head like she did originally. She throws some little smug shit talking about some, oh nah bro, I didn't quit. I just went into hiding so I can make this big story that'll knock everybody off their feet. Obviously she was was lying about that, but after hearing somebody actually liked her works, she got right back to practicing her art like she used to do. Now some even more time passed, and eventually Fujino and Kyo ended up actually becoming friends. More than just friends, actually. The two of them start making manga together. And not on no some childhood dream type shit, they're even getting panels in Shonen Jump. So they're actually taking it serious and they're being semi-successful. Now we get like a 2-minute scene of just time flashing forward for a couple years all the way up until they're adults. And in these scenes, we're just seeing the two of them making a manga, getting a decent amount of success from it, just living up the life. But right in the height of their success, Kyo comes up to Fujino and just tells her, hey, I think I want to quit making manga and I want to go to art school because I want to pursue my art further. She feels like she wants to do more than just make manga. She wants to be like a different type of artist, an artist that isn't just held down by stories, but one who can make stories with the art. I'm telling you, bro, I'm getting mad poetic today. Obviously, after building up this whole thing together, Fujino doesn't want her to just dip off and go to art school. So she tries to convince her, but it really doesn't do much. So the two of them just end up going their separate ways. While Kyo's doing her thing in art school, Fujino's still working on manga, and she's actually doing very well. She made like a spin-off Chainsaw Man, or I guess an alternate Chainsaw Man, because, you know, the same person who made Chainsaw Man made this. There was like hella Chainsaw Man references in this show. Anyways, back to the story. Fujino's doing decent on her own. She's been having to hire assistants to take place of Kyo, because obviously she can't fully do it all by herself. But she tends to fire these assistants pretty quickly because they can't match what Kyo brought. Even after finding her success by herself, she can't stop thinking about Kyo. And coincidentally, while she was thinking about Kyo, she heard some shit going on the news. The same art school she went to just had an attack. Right after seeing the news about it, she got a call and they confirmed Kyo was a victim from the attack. The writer of this shit already has a history. I wasn't even surprised that one of the characters passed away. RP Kyo though. She was cool for the 20 minutes that we knew her. Now obviously after hearing this news, Fujino is devastated. I mean, just look at her face. Now Fujino ends up coming back to Kyo's home, you know, the same one she broke into at the start. And I guess she just came back to this home to like grieve. I couldn't really tell you the purpose of her coming here. But while she was here, she ended up finding that same little throwaway drawing she drew while she was inside her house originally. And after seeing this, she just decided to start blaming herself for what happened to Kyo. Because, you know, before Kyo was cool with Fujino, she was a shut-in, like I mentioned earlier. So now she's blaming herself because she's pretty much the one who had Kyo start getting out and exploring the world and stuff. So she's blaming herself because she made Kyo start leaving the house. And that's what led to her getting killed. Now, while she's going through all this grieving, we just get like a cool scene right here where they show us like an alternate reality where Kyo never met Fujino, because this is pretty much what's on Fujino's mind right now. In Fujino's mind, she believes that Kyo would have had a perfect life if she never came around. She ended up going to art school like she did originally, but this time she got saved from the murderer. But besides the constant threat to her life was pretty good without meeting Fujino. But we're back to reality. That ain't how it really is. We don't get to see it till now, but Fujino ends up going into Kyo's room. And inside of Kyo's room, she finds a whole bunch of manga, and not just any manga, it's the manga that Fujino's been making. Kyo's been secretly supporting Fujino the whole time. I mean, you know, she's been supporting her, because if you look closely at the bookshelf, she has multiple of the same volumes. She didn't just pick it up as a book. She just wanted to own a whole bunch because she just wants to support her friend, even if they ain't even cool no more. Seeing this makes her relive a whole bunch of memories of the past, and we honestly just get an amazing emotional moment right here. When it comes to moments like this, I try to keep it as vague as possible, because these are the moments that I can't just put words to. Whenever I make these videos, I hope people watch the anime after they watch these videos, or I hope they watch the first minute of the video and then go watch the anime, then come back to it. But this is one that I will say you have to watch. I highly recommend. Now let's get back to the movie, even though it's the end. Right after having that emotional moment, Fujino just gets right back to working on her manga. Seeing that Kyo's been supporting her manga just gave her motivation to keep going, even if Kyo's not even here. We don't get no special ending. We just just see her working on this manga as the credits start to roll. Literally the same way the movie started is the same way the movie ended. Her at her desk making manga. This shit is peak and it hit full circle. Just like Goodbye Eri. I made a video on that manga. Until this day, it is one of my favorite one-shot mangas. And this might be one of my favorite anime movies. This author be putting out fire, bro. Goodbye Eri needs a movie, low key. That'd go crazy.